After 48 hours of heartbreak, my daughter's incredible surprise revealed a life-changing transformation. Sarah sat on the threadbare couch, the weight of heartbreak pressing heavily on her chest. Just 2 days ago, her world had been upended when she learned that Emily, her bright-eyed daughter, was being transferred to an elite private school. The decision, made by an enthusiastic but out-of-touch relative, felt like a knife twisting in her heart. How could they take her daughter away from the very community that had shaped them both? Every late-night shift at the diner, every ounce of love they had poured into their lives together now felt like a futile battle against a world determined to pull them apart. As the relentless tick of the clock echoed in the quiet room, Sarah's thoughts spiraled. She envisioned Emily in a place where status came from designer shoes instead of the laughter shared on their front porch or the scent of cinnamon wafting from Mrs. Thompson's bakery. She envisioned a life that felt foreign and unrecognizable. She had always taught Emily that success came from hard work and genuine connections, not from the prestige of an elite education. Determined to give Emily the opportunities she deserved, Sarah threw herself into her 3 jobs. Each late-night shift fueled her with determination, but not without taking a toll. She carried the sharp pang of exhaustion with her, knowing that the American dream was just an arm's reach away, even if their financial situation felt as precarious as a tightrope walk. While battling her fears of losing Emily to a world of privilege, something surprising happened. Sarah came home from yet another long shift, her mind swirling with exhaustion, when she found a handwritten letter on the kitchen table. It was from Emily. The moment she saw her daughter's looping script, something sparked within Sarah. It was a lifeline, a flicker of hope amidst swirling despair. In the letter, Emily detailed the idea she and her friends had come up with, a community fundraiser to renovate the rundown community center that was the lifeblood of their neighborhood. "Mom," Emily had written, "we want to bring people together. This community means everything to us." Each word resonated with the values Sarah had instilled in her, the values they cherished together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of the fundraiser approached, Sarah felt a blend of anxious excitement. On the stage, under soft golden lights, she watched Emily take command, her small frame radiating confidence. The laughter, the warmth in the crowd filled Sarah's heart. With every word Emily spoke, a part of Sarah's fear melted away. "Success isn't about wealth, it's about who we are," Emily declared, her voice strong, reaching every heart in the room. But just as the applause thundered, Sarah's heart raced in uncertainty. Would this be enough to keep them together? Would this effort help them redefine what success really meant? As night drew near, she gripped Emily's hand tightly, feeling the warm bond that threaded them both. Would this love be enough to bridge the growing gap between their lives? And as a flicker of doubt danced in her mind, Sarah realized that the journey had only just begun. As the applause settled, Sarah squeezed Emily's hand tighter. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the world around them faded. It was as if that brief connection could hold back the tide of uncertainty crashing over her heart. The crowd began to mingle, laughter and chatter filling the once silent space, but Sarah's thoughts clung to the fear of what lay ahead. They had managed to gather a modest amount for the community center, but would it be enough? The memories of the neighborhood they had built together, friends playing hopscotch on the cracked pavement, summer barbecues wafting sweet scents through the air, were woven into the tapestry of their lives. Those moments felt fragile now, teetering dangerously on the brink of change. Just as Sarah began to breathe again, she noticed a shadow lurking near the edge of the crowd. It was Mr. Henderson, the principal of the elite private school, his presence both unexpected and unwelcome. He clutched a clipboard, his brow furrowed in a manner that made Sarah's heart drop. He was all authority and sharp edges, a stark contrast to the familiarity of their neighborhood. "Excuse me, Sarah?" he called over. The anxiety gripping her surged instantly. It was one thing to face the prospect of Emily leaving, but seeing the man who represented that possibility so close made her stomach twist. "Yes?" she managed to say, forcing a smile despite her racing heart. "I just wanted to commend Emily on her speech tonight." "Very inspiring," he said, his tone polished but lacking genuine warmth. "And to see if you could spare a moment to discuss her upcoming transfer?" Sarah's blood ran cold. Hadn't they had enough discussion about it? Emily didn't want to go, she just needed to show it. "Now's not really a good time," she said, her voice firm. Mr. Henderson's smile stiffened, but there was an edge to his demeanor, a silent challenge. "I understand, but the sooner we discuss the transition, the smoother it will be. We have big plans for Emily, and she has immense potential to excel beyond our local reach." "But she's excelling here." Sarah shot back, her voice rising. Their neighbors turned, glancing at her in surprise. "This community is where she belongs. It's who she is." As the words left her mouth, she realized she was fighting for more than just a physical location. She was defending dreams, cherished friendships, and a lifestyle that was built on connection and love. The tension crackled in the air as the crowd hushed. Emily stood nearby, eyes wide. She had watched her mother stand up for their beliefs, her heart swelling with pride and admiration. But there was a flicker of worry in her gaze too. What would this confrontation mean for both of them? "Let us not make a scene. Emily is going to have opportunities that she can't find here," Mr. Henderson pressed, his voice dropping to a whisper, as if trying to pull her away from her community. "You both deserve better than this." Sarah felt her heart aching at the insinuation. Better? What did better even mean? It wasn't just about the school or the prestige, it was about the laughter, the warmth, the community spirit that had lifted her and Emily through tough times. Before she could respond, a voice cut through the tension. It was Mrs. Thompson, the friendly baker whose cookies had always been a source of comfort. "You know, Mr. Henderson," she said, stepping forward, "sometimes the best opportunities come from the roots we've planted, not just the height we reach." Quiet murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, emboldening Sarah. With newfound strength, she looked at Emily, who was finding her voice in this moment too. "Emily, whatever you choose, I want you to be happy. Just remember," but before she could finish, that doubt resurfaced, whispering itself into her thoughts. What if Emily didn't choose her? What if the pull of a different life was too strong to resist? The room felt heavy, charged with uncertainty as they stood at a crossroads. Sarah felt the world shift beneath her. Would they stand strong together, or would this new path tear them apart? As the tension hung thick, Emily glanced at her mother, her youthful determination ignited. "Mom, we need to talk." And with those words, it was clear that a pivotal decision awaited them both. Would love be enough to navigate this new terrain, or were they destined to drift apart? Emily took a deep breath, her expression shifting from shock to steely resolve. The crowd around them seemed to blur, fading into the background as if they were encased in their own bubble. "Mom," she said, her voice steady yet soft, "I've been thinking a lot about what I want." Sarah's heart raced. She felt the weight of every sleepless night and every tear shed at the thought of losing her daughter. "What you want? Or what others want for you?" she asked, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. She didn't want to be in this moment, yet here they were, teetering on uncharted ground. Emily looked down, fiddling with the hem of her dress. "I know everyone thinks the private school is the best choice, and sometimes I wonder if I should want that too. But I love it here, Mom. My friends are home, the summer barbecues. It's everything to me." The relief washed over Sarah, but a question still loomed heavy in the air. "What do you want, really?" she pressed, eager to understand her daughter's heart. "This isn't just about you, Emily. This is about everything we've built together. If I go to that school, I'll be farther away from everything that matters," Emily admitted, her voice just above a whisper. "But I know if I stay, it's not just about comfort. I want to make a difference here, Mom. I want to help." The words struck Sarah like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the darkness of her doubts. Her daughter wasn't just thinking about her own future, she was thinking about the community they shared. Still, Sarah felt a surge of fear. And if they accept you? What then? Are you willing to give it all up without even trying? The question hung between them, a fragile thread woven with hope and apprehension. Emily's jaw tightened. I want to try. I want to explore college, and I want to do it on my own terms. But I want to do that here. Tears pricked at Sarah's eyes as she studied her daughter. She saw the spark of ambition and love intertwined, and for the first time, it felt like the invisible wall between them was slowly crumbling. But Mr. Henderson's stern voice broke through their moment. Emily, think carefully, he urged, his tone layered with authority. This is an opportunity on a silver platter. You can't overlook it for something that feels safe. That's the thing, isn't it? Emily replied, turning to face him, her youthful face radiant with conviction. Safety isn't a measure of worth. It's the passion and the will to fight for what you care about that truly matters. The crowd murmured in agreement, eyes wide with admiration for Emily's boldness. Sarah felt a ripple of pride swell within her, tinged with uncertainty. Would this be enough to sway their reality? Let us have that conversation then, Sarah said, her voice renewed with strength. But let us really talk about what's best for Emily, not what's best on paper. About dreams that matter, not just what is expected. Emily squeezed her mother's hand, and for a moment, Sarah felt like they could tackle anything together. But as she looked into her daughter's eyes, a flicker of doubt returned. What if their choices led them to heartache? What if daring to stay meant facing a bigger loss in the end? Just then, Mrs. Thompson stepped forward again, her smile warm. I've seen what this community can do when we stand together. We're all behind you, Emily. As the crowd erupted in support, Sarah felt a rush of hope, but knew the road ahead would not be easy. Would they stand together, or were they too far gone in their dreams? Sarah looked at Emily, whose eyes gleamed with determination. Okay, let us figure this out. She held her breath, a new question lingering in unspoken air. Was their connection enough to change everything? And in that moment, as the crowd cheered for Emily, Sarah realized they were heading towards a decision that could change their lives forever. Would stepping away from the familiar build their future, or was the risk too great? The noise around them slowly faded as Sarah and Emily stood at the center of something pivotal. The cheers of the crowd felt distant, almost like echoes of a far-off storm. Sarah glanced at Emily, who seemed to radiate a bright, almost ethereal energy, fueled by hope and passion. Do you really believe we can make this work? She asked, her voice barely a whisper, yet filled with weight. Emily nodded, a fierce look in her eyes. I do, Mom. I have to believe it. There was a courage in her expression, a promise to herself, that glimmered as brightly as the summer sun. She took a step back, looking around at the faces of friends, neighbors, and supporters. Everyone here wants the best for me, but I just want to make them proud by being true to myself. Then let us do this, Sarah said, feeling the weight of something indefinable shift in the air. She reached for Emily's hand, and they stood together, forming an unbreakable bond amid waves of uncertainty. It felt as if the world outside their bubble was watching, waiting for the next chapter of their story to unfold. Little by little, the crowd began to settle down, their excitement simmering into an expectant hum. Emily's confidence grew, encouraged by their whispered affirmations and nods. Do you want to say something? To the crowd? Sarah suggested, her heart racing at the thought. Emily hesitated, doubt creeping back in. But then, as if ignited by the very spirit of the community, she stepped forward again. The room fell silent, every eye locked onto her, their faces mirrored with concern and encouragement. I just want to say thank you, she began, her voice shaking at first. Thank you for believing in me. I know it's scary to think I might want to stay here, but this place is my home. It's where I found my voice, and every day it inspires me. I want to give back to everyone who has supported me. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes as she watched Emily speak with such intelligence and heart. The crowd began to clap, a slow, steady rhythm that built, encouraging her to continue. I want to create programs for local kids to help them learn and grow, like I did. I believe we can change lives together. The claps turned into whoops and cheers, the community rallying around her as if they were personally invested in her journey. It was electric, the energy filling in the gaps left by fear and doubt. For the first time, Sarah felt hope spark within her, growing stronger with each of Emily's words. But just as Emily reached her crescendo and began to smile brightly, someone shouted from the back, "But what about the school? You can't back out of that chance." The smile faltered for just a second, the tension creeping back in. "Yeah, think of all the opportunities." Another voice chimed in. Emily's expression hardened. It was like a mirror cracking. "What I'm trying to say is opportunities aren't only in a fancy school. They're right here, where I can truly make a difference." With that declaration, her resolve seemed to settle over the room like a warm blanket. Sarah felt her insides twist, her heart racing anew. She wanted to protect Emily's dream, but what would happen if the school offered her something she couldn't refuse? Would she regret not pushing her to consider all paths, especially the one that seemed so shiny and appealing? As the crowd buzzed with excitement about Emily's vision, Sarah gripped her daughter's hand tighter, fearing the ripple effects of this choice. "Emily, can we really do this together?" Sarah asked, her voice a mix of fear and awe at the sheer force of their shared ambition. "I don't know, Mom. But I want to try," Emily replied, determination painting her features once again like the sunset. In that moment, they both understood that trying meant facing risks. It could mean losing out on new experiences or worse, disappointing the community they so cherished. What lay ahead was unclear, but together, they were ready to explore the tangled paths stretching out before them. Just as Sarah opened her mouth to speak, a figure stepped forward from the crowd, someone she didn't expect to see. Was this person a friend or a foe? "What are you really planning to do, Emily?" The voice called out, slicing through the air and creating a new, uncertain tension. What were the stakes, and how would they confront this unexpected challenge? Emily's heart sank at the sound of that voice. It cut through all the excitement, pulling her thoughts into a shadowy pit of uncertainty. She squinted into the crowd, trying to see who had just challenged her. The tension in the air felt thick, almost suffocating, as she faced an unexpected wave of anxiety. "Who is that?" she whispered to Sarah, her voice trembling. Sarah scanned the crowd, recognizing the familiar face of Mark, a former classmate who had always strived for the top academic scholarships, prestigious colleges. He seemed out of place amidst the supportive cheers surrounding them now. He's part of the old crowd," Sarah replied softly, trying to calm Emily's nerves. But Emily couldn't shake the weight of his words. "What are you really planning to do, Emily?" The question echoed in her mind like a chorus of doubts. Before she could respond, Mark spoke again, louder this time. "You really think you can change the world by staying here? That this town has everything you need? A fancy school could give you opportunities beyond your imagination." "Seriously, Mark?" Emily exclaimed, her voice rising with indignation. "You think I just want to leave for the sake of leaving? I want to stay and make a difference here." "But what difference can you really make?" Mark pressed, his brow furrowing. "You'll be stuck in a small town while everyone else moves on to bigger things. I just don't get it." The crowd was silent now, absorbing the intensity of their exchange. Emily felt her defenses rise like a shield around her heart, each word from Mark striking a nerve. "I'm not looking for bigger things," she replied defiantly, her voice steadying. "I'm looking for a place where I can be myself. I've learned more from this community than any fancy school could teach me." The murmurs of support in the crowd began to swell again, but Mark didn't back down. "You think you're the first one to feel this way? You have to think practically, Emily. Think about your future." Sarah felt her heart race. Was Mark right? While she admired Emily's passion, everyone else had dreams too. "Emily," she began, struggling to find words that wouldn't impede her daughter's resolve. "Mom, I know what I want," Emily insisted, fury mixing with determination. "Everything I've ever wanted is right here, people who believe in me, who need me." Emily took a deep breath, turning to face the crowd again. "I want to give back to this place that raised me. I can help local children explore their own potential. I don't need to go to some distant place to achieve that. The crowd surged with applause, the support lifting her spirit higher than before. For a moment, Emily felt invincible. But Mark's voice hung thick in the air, a stark reminder of the life left outside this moment. Opportunities are great, sure. But they don't define who you are, she added defiantly, glancing at Sarah who was watching her, a mixture of pride and concern swirling in her gaze. The crowd erupted into cheers once more, but the undercurrent of unease lingered. Emily felt good about her declaration, but she couldn't shake Mark's words. What if he had a point? What if she was selling herself short? Suddenly, a familiar face from behind the crowd caught Emily's eye. Her father stood there, his expression unreadable. What was he thinking? As Sarah squeezed her hand again, a new realization dawned on Emily. They were about to step into the unknown together, and the next decision they made mattered more than anything. Could they really tackle the road ahead amidst this swirling uncertainty? And just as the doubts began to creep in, Mark's voice suddenly rang out anew, promising that this confrontation was far from over. Then prove it, he shouted. Show us you can really do something inspiring. Emily's determination flickered in response to his challenge. How could she prove herself without losing sight of her dreams? Emily's breath hitched at Mark's challenge. Prove it, he had said, and the weight of those words pressed down like a stone. She felt the electric hum of the crowd, eyes darting to her, waiting, wanting her to respond. The thrill of adrenaline coursed through her, yet uncertainty tugged at her heart. How could she transform this moment into something powerful? All right, Mark, she finally responded, standing tall, ready to embrace the moment. I'll show you just how much impact we can have here. But it's going to take more than just dreaming big. A ripple of support surged through the crowd again, their excitement showing they were on her side, fueling her resolve. As the cheers rang out, she turned back to Sarah, who wore a proud smile, but Emily could still see the worry flickering in her mother's eyes. Mom, I need your help, she said, grounding herself in the face of the unfolding challenge. Sarah nodded, a mixture of excitement and apprehension mingling in her gaze. Let us come up with something that really helps, Emily continued. Something meaningful for our community. Before Sarah could voice her thoughts, one of their friends from the crowd shouted, Let us do a summer program. We could offer workshops in arts, science, and sports for the kids here. Yeah, another voice chimed in. Let us use the community center. We can raise funds through bake sales and car washes. The crowd began to buzz with ideas, energy igniting amongst them like wildfire. Emily's heart swelled with hope, each suggestion tightening the knot of determination inside her. This was what she wanted, an opportunity to bring people together, to make a tangible change right here in their town. But as ideas flowed, a nagging worry clawed at her insides. What if their efforts fell flat? What if they didn't raise enough money or attract enough kids to make it worthwhile? She glanced at Mark, who wore a skeptical smirk, and felt a flicker of doubt. Okay, she shouted over the crowd to regain focus. How do we get started? We need to plan a real plan. An older neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, stepped forward. Why don't we hold a community meeting tomorrow? Spread the word and get everyone involved. We need as many voices as possible. Yes, Emily exclaimed, her heart racing. It was a good idea. Let us meet at the community center tomorrow evening. Bring your ideas, your skills, and let us brainstorm together. With every cheer, the crowd seemed more alive. She could feel the support wrapping around her, bolstering her confidence. As they dispersed, Emily caught Mark's eye again. He still didn't look convinced, but that was okay. This time, she could drown out his skepticism. Emily returned home, the buzz of excitement still echoing in her mind. Did you see their faces? Sarah said, her enthusiasm contagious. You really ignited something in them, Em. I just hope it's enough, Emily admitted, her voice quieter as the day's adrenaline began to fade. She stared out the window into the darkening sky, thinking of the task ahead. What if she couldn't live up to her own words? That night, sleep didn't come easily. As Emily laid in bed, her thoughts spun like a whirlwind. The excitement had left her charged, but gnawing fears took root. Could she truly lead this initiative? What would happen if it didn't make the difference she dreamed of? As dawn broke, she felt a flicker of resolve. Somewhere buried under the anxiety was the hope of connection, of community. With the meeting just hours away, an undercurrent of motivation surged through her. Emily rose to face the day, determined to gather every ounce of strength she had. She was going to prove that she could inspire change. Little did she know, another surprise awaited her, one that would challenge not just her courage, but also redefine her place in the world around her. Amid her ambitions, what if she discovered something even bigger than she had ever imagined? As afternoon light filtered through her window, Emily felt a whirlwind of emotions as she prepared for the community meeting. Nervousness tinged her excitement, a twisting knot lodged tightly in her stomach. She could hardly believe this moment was finally here. Clutching the stack of papers with her ideas, she took a deep breath, readying herself for whatever lay ahead. When she arrived at the community center that evening, the room buzzed with familiar faces. Parents, children, and neighbors filled the space, their chatter rising and falling like waves. Emily's heart swelled at the sight. This was her community, a patchwork of lives woven together by shared dreams and struggles. She could feel the weight of their collective hopes hanging in the air. The meeting kicked off with Sarah introducing Emily. "We've come together to talk about creating something amazing for our kids this summer," she started, her voice warm and inviting. Emily felt a surge of gratitude for her mother's support, a steady anchor in the rising tide of excitement and fear. After a few introductory words, Emily stepped forward, clutching her notes tightly. "Thank you for coming, everyone. Today, we're here to brainstorm workshops, anything we think our kids will love. Whether it's arts, sciences, or sports, we have so much potential." The room erupted into a flurry of ideas, people yelling out suggestions and adding their thoughts one after another. She felt like she was standing on a surfboard, catching the waves of their enthusiasm. Laughter and voices filled the air as proposals flew in all directions, but with excitement came a different kind of anxiety. "What if we don't have enough money?" Mark interjected, crossing his arms. "Who is going to pay for all of this?" Emily's pulse quickened, and she struggled to contain her frustration. "We've got to at least try, Mark. We can organize fundraisers and apply for grants if we just put our hearts into it. Let us not forget, we've got to get the kids engaged," Mrs. Patterson chimed in. "They need to feel excited about what we're offering." The conversation shifted, and Emily felt the tide turn again as parents began to speak up. Each offered to contribute in some way, a workshop on cooking, free music lessons, or a neighborhood run to raise funds. The relief that washed over Emily was palpable. This was happening. Together, they were creating something real. Outside, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden glow that seeped through the windows, illuminating their faces and igniting a spark of hope in each heart present. Emily, once filled with doubt, suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of pride. These were her people, and they believed in this vision. As the meeting wrapped up, Emily surveyed the room, feeling a swell of belonging like never before. "Let us reconvene the same time next week," she announced, her voice steady and bright. "We'll have a plan. Together, we can make this happen." Applause filled the air as people rose to leave, excitement buzzing among them. Yet, as Emily watched them go, she caught Mark lingering, his brow furrowed with skepticism. "Are you really sure you can pull this off?" he asked quietly, almost as if he was afraid of the answer. Emily took a deep breath, ready to defend her vision, but before she could respond, a figure stepped through the door. Gasping, she turned to see a familiar face. The unexpected visitor was someone she hadn't seen in years, someone with the potential to change everything. "Emily?" the person called out, smiling wide. "I heard you're planning something special and I want to help." Who was this unexpected ally? And how would their return impact Emily's mission to bring her community together? Emily's heart raced as she took in the familiar face that stood framed by the doorway. It was Mia, her childhood friend. They had shared secrets, dreams, and laughter during endless summer days, but life had pulled them apart. Mia's vibrant energy seemed unchanged, her smile bright enough to light the dim hallway behind her. "Emily," Mia exclaimed again, stepping forward. "I heard you were back in town and working on something for the kids." I couldn't believe it when I heard. "This is amazing." Emily felt a tidal wave of emotions, joy, nostalgia, and a fluttering fear of the unknown. "Mia, I can't believe it's you." She rushed to hug her, enveloping her in a warm embrace. The scent of sunlit days and sweet memories flooded back. "What are you doing here?" "I just moved back. I wanted a change, and then I heard about your project. I've always loved working with kids, and I thought, why not bring some fun activities to life?" Mia's enthusiasm was nearly palpable, igniting the excitement that had been simmering in Emily's heart. "That's exactly what we need. With your help, we could really put together a summer program that wows everyone. We could hold art classes, dance workshops, or even field trips." Emily could hardly contain herself. This was the ally she had hoped for, a friend who understood her vision and was willing to dive in headfirst. Mark, who had remained by the doorway, watched the reunion with a skeptical expression. "You think just the two of you can make a real difference?" he challenged, crossing his arms again. Emily turned to him, determination setting her jaw. "It's not just about us, Mark. It's about the whole community coming together. With support, we can create something beautiful." Mia nodded in agreement. "And I've got some ideas of my own. When I was working at the community center in my last town, we organized fundraisers and reached out to local businesses. We could do the same here." The atmosphere shifted. Emily sensed a glimmer of hope as parents nearby began to gather, drawn in by the buzz of their conversation. It reminded her of how creativity blossomed when people shared their passions. "Maybe I could organize a bake sale," Mrs. Patterson suggested from the back, a sparkle in her eye. "I know the whole neighborhood loves my pies. Count me in for the music lessons," chimed in another parent with excitement. Emily felt a rush of gratitude for Mia and the community's blossoming spirit. Ideas rolled through her mind like waves, each crashing with a fresh influx of inspiration. "Why don't we meet again tomorrow?" Emily suggested. "Let us gather all these thoughts and put a plan in motion." The crowd stirred, nods and murmurs of agreement rippling through the room. Someone even suggested transforming the community center into a lively hub for their kids. Emily's heart sang. "Tomorrow, we'll take the first big step," she declared, her voice ringing with unfiltered joy. As the evening drew to a close and families filed out, Emily stayed behind with Mia and Mark. She felt buoyed by the night's success. But in the back of her mind, a lingering worry gnawed at her. Could they really sustain this energy? Mark approached her, his expression softening. "I see you believe in this," he said quietly. "But be careful. People can be unpredictable." She nodded, knowing he had a point but unwilling to let doubt creep in. "Together, we can make it work," she said firmly, even as dread twisted inside her. Mia leaned closer, her excitement barely contained. "Imagine if we could bring everyone together. This could really change things." Just then, Emily's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, her heart sinking as she read the message. A familiar name appeared on the screen, offering a different angle to the unfolding story and potentially stirring up old troubles. What did they want now? Emotions twisted like a vine as she stared at the screen, uncertainty weighing down her heart. Would this unexpected message pull her backwards, or could she rise above it and keep her vision intact? Tomorrow would bring answers that might change everything. Emily stared at the text message, her heart hammering against her ribs. It was from Alex, her former boyfriend, the one who left town without a word, taking with him a piece of her heart. She had thought she was over him, but even the sight of his name sent her spiraling back into memories of warm summer nights and whispered promises. "Who is it?" Mia asked, sensing the shift in Emily's demeanor. It's Alex," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "Alex?" Mia repeated, a mix of disbelief and excitement crossing her face. "The same Alex the one who vanished without a trace. Just when things started to get serious between us." Emily felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her. Wow, I didn't expect to hear from him again. Are you okay? Emily nodded slowly, though her heart raced with confusion. She clenched her phone, feeling the weight of years of unresolved feelings. The prospect of meeting him tomorrow stirred both anticipation and dread. What could he possibly want now? Mark, sensing the shift in energy, crossed his arms again, his face hardening. You don't need any drama right now, Em. Just focus on the kids and this project. I know, she replied, trying to quell the storm inside her. But I can't ignore what he has got to say. Not after all this time. As they stepped outside into the fading evening light, the laughter of children floated in the air from a nearby park. Emily closed her eyes briefly, taking in the sounds of joy that always seemed to lift her spirits. Yet the knot in her stomach tightened at the thought of what could unfold with Alex resurfacing in her life, a cloud threatening her hopeful plans. I'll go hang out with my parents, Mark said, clearly piecing together that this was not the moment for him to be around. Call if you need anything. Thanks, Mark. Once they were alone, Mia studied Emily with concern. Want to talk about it? I just don't know what to expect. Part of me is excited, but it's also terrifying, Mia finished. It's understandable. You've bottled up a lot of feelings. Emily's voice trembled slightly. What if he wants to come back into my life? What if he doesn't? I'm finally starting to feel grounded again. Mia placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. No matter what happens tomorrow, you're not alone. Remember, you have a whole community ready to support your vision. And I'll be right beside you. The night passed quickly and sleep came reluctantly to Emily. Her dreams were a swirling haze of laughter and heartache, of the kids she wanted to inspire and the man who could either uplift or shatter her. Morning broke with a soft golden light, bathing the room in warmth. She took a deep breath, trying to shake off the remnants of her dreams. As she prepared for the day ahead, her mind wandered back to the community meeting. Once there, the parents were buzzing with ideas, energy filling the room as Emily looked around. It was alive with hope, everything she had dreamed of. But with Alex's message hanging over her, she felt divided. Just as she gathered her courage to share the plans Mia had helped flesh out, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a notification from a social media platform. It showed a photo of Alex, his smile wider than she remembered, captioned with an invitation to the town's upcoming festival. The walls of her heart missed a beat as she considered the implications. Should she go? Should she confront the past head-on? As the meeting unfolded and excitement swirled around her, Emily could barely focus. Another message popped up from Alex, this one more straightforward. Can we talk? The promise of answers pulled her beneath the surface of her swirling thoughts. She looked up, meeting Mia's eager gaze, and the weight of her decision settled over her like a thick fog. Emily, you okay? Mia's voice cut through her turmoil. Emily took a deep breath, her resolve trembling but building. I might need to face him. Right after this. Mia nodded, squeezing her hand in encouragement. Emily knew tomorrow was meant for the community, but today, faced with a choice that could unravel everything she had built, her heart whispered to take the leap. Could she gather the strength to confront her past while holding on to her vision? Emily took a step forward, not entirely sure where it would lead her, but ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The festival day arrived, vibrant with the sounds of laughter, music, and the delicious smell of food wafting through the air. Emily felt butterflies in her stomach as she watched families and friends gather under colorful banners, all alive with anticipation. The community center, once a quiet backdrop to their struggles, had transformed into a lively hub of hope and celebration. Mia stood by Emily's side, her energy infectious as they organized the final touches for their community workshops. It's all coming together, Em. Look at all these people, she exclaimed, adjusting her cap decorated with colorful stickers. Everyone's so excited. As Emily looked around, her heart swelled with pride. Oblivious to her internal turmoil about Alex's looming presence, the sheer joy of what they were creating together illuminated her spirit. Yet, in the distance, a familiar figure caught her attention. Alex was setting up a booth for local crafts, his smile bright and confident, contrasting sharply with the path he had left behind. Hey, are you okay? Mia's voice broke through her swirling thoughts, snapping Emily back to the moment. Yeah, it's just so much right now. Emily forced a smile, but her stomach twisted at the sight of Alex. Let us just focus on today. We'll talk to him later if you want. Right now, you've got kids to inspire. Mia encouraged, nudging her playfully, but the more Emily tried to focus on the festivities, the louder the anxiety drummed in her ears. She was about to take a step towards her dreams, and yet, a piece of her heart hesitated, caught in the web of unresolved feelings for Alex. As the afternoon sun began to dip, casting warm hues across the gathering, Emily watched children dash about, faces painted with dreams and laughter. It was contagious. They played games, painted banners, and engaged in the workshops Emily had hoped would inspire their spirit. It reminded her of everything she loved and longed to protect. "Mom!" Emily shouted over the noise, spotting Sarah pouring sweet lemonade for neighbors. Sarah turned, her face radiating warmth and pride. "Look how everything turned out." Sarah wiped her hands on her apron and smiled. "You did all this, Em. I'm so proud of you." She mouthed, then waved at Mrs. Patterson, who was busily handing out slices of pie nearby. Mounting excitement surged within Emily, igniting that original spark that had driven her to pursue this dream. Just then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted Alex approaching, his expression serious. "Emily?" he called, and immediately the crowd dimmed. The laughter faded as her gaze locked onto his, uncertainty brewing in her chest. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and walked over, leaving Mia's side. "What do you want, Alex?" His eyes softened, and Emily felt a rush of memories flood back, the laughter, the stories, the plans they had once dreamed. "I wanted to talk. Can we just have a moment? Here? Now?" Emily glanced around, sticking to the whirlwind of activity surrounding them as if the community's vibrancy could shield her from this confrontation. "Yes. I know it's awkward, but I've missed you. I'm really sorry for how I left." He spoke earnestly, searching her face for understanding. In truth, those words broke through the wall she had built. "You know, Alex, I've moved on from that chapter of my life. I'm here, doing something important for my community. It matters more than anything now." Her heart raced as she spoke, each word flowing with conviction, a reflection of her growth. "I see that," he said, glancing around at the bustling people. "And it looks amazing, really. I can't tell you how proud I am of you. But what if we tried to work together again? I know I messed things up, but I've changed. I want to be part of what you're building." She paused, considering the weight of his words. The sounds of the festival surrounded them, life teeming with potential. A part of her wanted to take that leap again, to embrace the friendship that had once meant the world. But she remained guarded. "I'll think about it," Emily finally said. "But right now, my focus is here." She gestured to the jubilant crowd, which had reignited her sense of purpose. This was where her heart belonged, with the sun setting behind them, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson. She smiled softly while turning to walk back to her friends. The weight of tension began to ease, replaced with the warmth of belonging and the community she had worked tirelessly to uplift. As the festival reached its peak, Emily felt an undeniable energy crackling in the air. Parents and kids were buzzing with joy, ideas blossoming all around them, and together, they were forging a future intertwined with their love for the neighborhood. That night, the community came together to celebrate not just successes, but the realization that they were transforming dreams into reality. Emily watched as laughter echoed under the starlit sky, with children chasing fireflies and families reassured in their connectedness. "See? We really can do this together," Mia said, beaming as she clasped Emily's hand. Emily looked around, absorbing the magnitude of what had formed, a community united, hearts intertwined, and a vision brought to life. "Yeah," she whispered, her heart swelling with warmth. Today was just the beginning. What once felt disjointed now fit perfectly into place. As the festival continued, Emily realized that this was her true opportunity, grounded in love, commitment, and a future she was determined to build alongside her community. no matter where the road led them next. As the evening unfolded, they danced under the stars. As laughter filled the air again, Emily felt hope and possibility light a flame deep within her, promising a life rich with purpose and connection. With every step she took, the past faded just a little further behind, making way for the bright future she was destined to embrace. Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment down below your thoughts, reactions, and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring transformation. True fans understand the importance of boosting the channel through your actions. Be part of this community of dreams and connections.